The most awkward part of every video is the introduction. So,
Well, let's pretend like we're talking about something already, and then we'll just be like,
I
oh,
am
yeah, let's
your
start
cult
this.
boyfriend. I'm your cult boyfriend. We're talking about Freaks and Geeks today. So I've decided that I'm going to rank characters from every show that I've done because I just want to continue talking about those same exact shows. I just did Buffy the other day with Isabel, and right now I am joined by none other than Charlie Reese Comedy. Say hi.
Howdy, howdy. Thanks for
Now,
having me.
Charlie Reese is a comedian who's also a big fan of Freaks and Geeks. Charlie, man, when did you first start watching this show?
Probably in college. That's when I first heard about it. So I was not watching it on TV. The very end of DVDs and the beginning of like streaming or like downloading and just watching on your computer era.
Well, this show must have came out in 1999, right? Like
Yeah,
we would have been like 9 and 10. We would have been a bit young for this show.
for
I
sure.
think most people watched it on reruns, right? And that's how it became such a cult classic. It's one of the most beloved teen shows of all time, let alone 90s pieces of media ever. The only real thing that you can compare it to is My So-Called Life, which came out a few years earlier, but it's a great one season of television cut before its time. I've always liked Freaks and Geeks. I do have like my issues with it now, which I think we'll talk about when we get going on this tier here. Now let's take a look. Definitely not as many characters because we're only dealing with one season.
Oh, they're
Wow.
all classics. Look at them all. Yeah, dude.
I know. I will say, I don't want anyone to accuse Buffy or anything of being fucking racist anymore because that's the whitest fucking group of people I've ever seen in my life.
There's not a lot of diversity. You're absolutely right there.
Not that there has to be diversity. I just remember
Just a
Isabel
small Midwest town, man. Leave them alone.
Isabel and I were grilling Joss Whedon the other day on his poorly written black characters, but at least he had black characters, is all I'm saying. Judd Apatow and is his name Paul Feig? Because I always forget his name, and I always like to give Judd Apatow like all the credit. Yeah, it's Paul Feig.
Shout out, Paul.
Bridesmaids was fine, but Judd Apatow, he's like
sure.
the genius here. I love Judd Apatow's work. People get really mad when I compare him to John Cassavetes. That's exactly what he's like. He does a joke until it's just so full of humility and humanity that it breaks your heart by the end. Like the joke goes on for so long that it's heartbreaking and intense. At least it did in like Funny People and stuff.
He's a sad boy deep down, I think.
And I see more of him in Freaks and Geeks than, Bridesmaids. Or maybe it's a good match of, Knocked Up and Bridesmaids. But like I see a bit more of Judd's stuff since I'm more familiar and I like him more. Judd Apatow, that run of 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, this is 40... Funny People. I think I'm missing one in there that he did as well. Something like Freaks and Geeks or Undeclared would, I think, signal that Judd was unique and had his own vision before all that stuff happened. Undeclared's interesting. It's not very good, but I have a massive crush on Monica Keena, so I will say it's fine. But it's no Freaks and Geeks, and I think that's him without Feig or whatever. Well, let's get on. Okay, wait, hold on. I have rules here, fun ones.
Yes. How are we?
Like we just did Buffy ranking, and the Buffy ranking, each one of us got one veto, where like we're gonna try to agree as best that we can. But if there's one character that Charlie would feel really strongly about, then I would disagree. He can veto me over one character and put him wherever he wants to put him, and I can do the same to him. And there's also a new one that I want to introduce just to make it a little bit more interesting, because this is a show full of amazing characters, in the Buffy one, we were a bit lenient and really nice when it came to the S tier. I want to have a limit, cap it off at 4, just 4.
4 S tiers.
4 S tiers, and that makes it a bit funner for someone to watch because, spoiler alert, they're basically all phenomenal of the principal cast, but I'd like to kind of pit them against each other here. And looks like we're starting off with, and it's been so long since I've watched this, by the way.
Yeah, you're gonna have to remind me most of the names
I
of
was
these
hoping you would
characters.
remind me of their names. I know that this
I
is
was
the
gonna write
fucking
down a cast list, honestly, but
I know that this is the bully who
yes.
got Bill to like eat peanut butter, right? Got him in the hospital, something like that. He's the one who said that Bill Murray sucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is automatically a mark against him.
Yeah, that's an F
Uh,
tier take. But how
he
did
did he ever come around in the end? I remember there was the episode where they
Yes.
chased him with the bicycle, but then he ended up getting beat up or something.
Well, that's one of the great parts of Freaks and Geeks. I think all of these characters get some hidden sensitivity or even complexity, and he definitely did. Like when Bill was in the hospital for his allergies that like the bully brought upon him, like he was
Mm,
really sad. It was nice and he was sad. He had good moments.
yeah.
But that said, I don't care about him. Like I'm perfectly fine D-tiering this guy. I don't. He like he had good moments, but neither one of us can remember them very clearly. So they must not
He
have
was
been.
better for the development of others more than he
Yeah,
developed. But he
but
did have a sensitivity to him. He realized his wrongs.
exactly. All these characters are deeper than they first appear. And I mean, I think this is a decent character. This is I forgot his name, but it's Neil's brother, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, he looks like young Danny Full House right there. But
um,
he's from my favorite movie, 10 Things I Hate About You.
yes, yes, he
Yeah.
is. He's a bit of an icon of the '90s.
Hmm.
I thought he was decent. Not a whole lot I can really go into about him, but
Lindsay had a crush on him for
yes,
sure.
that's
But
like
then
that's the problem, right? When we're talking about these secondary characters with Freaks and Geeks, and maybe one of its flaws, like you just said with the last character, like all they do is kind of service one of the principal characters'
mhm.
arcs, and this guy was just there, honestly, not even to make Lindsay feel a certain way, but to make Neil feel completely humiliated and heartbroken, um,
Mhm.
and emasculated. But like that said, how about C tier? He seems better.
He's better. I think yeah, he's got a scheminess about him.
Now, there are some
He's
secondary
got that
characters that I
yeah.
love, but we haven't got to them yet. Hmm. If I cut you off, just like keep
Oh
going.
no, yeah, I'll interject.
You know what? I'm going to say right now, one of the problems that I have with Freaks and Geeks in retrospect is like everyone's wondering how did it fucking get canceled? Like how did this show that's obviously incredibly well written and acted and designed, like how did it get canceled? And to me it's just so fucking obvious. The year 1999, the show set in 1979 and 1980. Like
Mhm.
and it's a teen show. I don't think that teenagers in 1999 were very interested in like basically what their parents were doing in high school. Like
I mean, you
it
could say
almost
that, but
seems to
then
me
that
like
'70s show started in 1999 too.
but to me, that was hardly, like, laced with '70s too much. Like, I can forget
No,
that
it
it's even set.
wasn't, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, basically, Dazed and Confused is a good, like, counter to Freaks and
Mhm.
Geeks, but at the same time, a show is going for a different sort of audience, right? Like, 1999, you had a lot of competition. You had, like I said, you had Buffy, you had Dawson's Creek, you had everything going on at that time. Uh,
Yeah, I think mo
again
as a more profound, parallel, though, the end of the '70s into the '80s, I think really did reflect the end of the '90s into the 2000s
but I don't think they did a good
in
job at
a
displaying that. Like, it was
or, I mean, did they even know that they were doing that, like,
that's another thing.
predictably?
In fact,
But
I didn't even think about that until you just said it, uh, because the parallels weren't very strong, and it makes me think of almost a part vanity project or partly autobiographical on behalf of Judd or
oh, it's certainly, yeah, like, reminiscing about his childhood
but
entirely,
without
and, like
modernizing it, which is what they did with Dawson's Creek and all that. Like that's all the showrunners' youth, but modernized and kind of not as egotistical feeling.
mm,
Uh, like there were obvious reasons why this show got canceled. In my opinion, doesn't make it not a great show, but 1999 was, I think, such a going into the millennium. It's not a nostalgic period of time. I thought it.
No, it was a very looking forward period for
Yeah,
sure. Like turn of the century, Y2K, what's gonna happen?
and to be
Yeah,
perfectly honest, outside of vanity and self-reflection or introspection on behalf of the writers, like there's no real reason for me why this show couldn't have been set in 1999 going into the millennium. Like
no, I mean all the same. Yeah, change Zeppelin for Nirvana,
exactly,
and yeah, you could do the
exactly.
same thing. And
I
even like
think
stylistically, I think like the nerds of the early 90s and the freaks of the early 90s are very similar
yes, yes,
wardrobe too.
which like maybe they were trying to draw those parallels, but I think you're like who was the primary audience? Was it teenagers? Because they're not going to draw those parallels themselves unless you're literally trying to get people in their 30s to watch this teen drama, which I don't think is a winning strategy.
They're just trying to get guys in their 30s 20 years from then to talk about it. That was his whole point.
Mission successful. I don't want to sound too critical. I love this show, but there are obvious problems with it. And that's why I think that my
Yeah.
so-called life is so much better.
I think
I
it
love this one. This character is
Oh,
great, by
she's
the
the
way.
best. She was all my friends in high school, for
She
real.
was amazing. And it's crazy how they could turn, like a fart joke into a moment of mature realization that like women are people too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and especially, like, the perfect ones, you know,
Yeah,
the
like
classiest, like but not in a holier than thou way ever, it's like even the just earnestly good ones have
well, it's
moments.
interesting because in retrospect, right now, I think that the geeks idolized women, whereas the freaks just didn't appreciate them. you know, it's
Right,
quite
I mean,
quite a different
that's true.
dichotomy.
I think I was thinking about, like, what the difference is or what they taught each other kinda thing, and I think, the freaks accepted each other, but really wanted to be cool, and then
Yeah,
the or I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The geeks really accepted each other, but wanted to be cool, and then the freaks were cool, but didn't know how to accept each other, and that was,
yeah, I
like,
agree
the
with that.
ultimate, anyway.
No,
But
I
yes,
agree with that.
she's,
I actually she's like a sweetheart and she's really interesting and talk about hidden sensitivity is we actually she almost isn't secondary character to me. Like she's
oh, I
almost
don't think so.
like if it went on for a second season, she would have been in that introduction getting her picture taken, I
Oh,
think.
absolutely. Yeah,
Um I
I
really
think,
liked her. What's her
oh,
fucking name?
um oh, it's not Millie, that's the other
Is it
one.
like Susie or some shit?
Uh, Cindy.
It's Cindy?
I think so. Yeah, I would just watch that, the dance where he asks her to dance, and then he brings her out into the middle, and he thinks he's about to slow dance, and the song changes to the fast part, and he's just like, "Oh,
Yeah, that's
crap."
good.
That's one of those
Um
little moments I, always appreciated.
Perfectly honest, you decide. I'm feeling B or A tier. I think she was cool.
I think she's A. I think, like you said, if there was season 2, she would be, a driving force of most of the storylines, like her and Sam, like
Yeah.
they'd be the
And,
new Jack and Diane.
and I'm glad I just brought up the introduction because while this show, like as it stands, would rank in the middle or like lower on my list of the best teen dramas I've ever done, that introduction might be the best introduction of any show. Just them getting their picture taken, the Joan Jett bad reputation.
Mhm. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's
iconic.
brilliant.
It
And you
is.
see the next character waiting to the side to come through, like it's all so well designed. It's
Mhm.
so cool.
Yeah, and you
Uh,
really, like, learn each of their characters through their pictures, like, they're all very subtle face movements in each of
yes.
them that, like, really bring you to
Oh, it's so cool. My only issue with it is that Linda is the only like girl there when Kim Kelly should have been there. There's no fucking way. It's
yeah.
but I guess that makes a loud statement too that like she's in this group of boys really. I don't remember this guy
He, I
at all.
think, was one of their, nerd friends in the AV club, like the Dungeons& and Dragons and
Okay. I mean,
One
I
of
don't
those. I
remember
don't
him.
remember. We could throw him way at the bottom there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Now this
kid. I
guy,
hope you did well.
this fucking stud right here. Okay. I don't care what you say because I'll veto for this guy. This guy's
That's
S
fair.
tier.
Well, he's good. He's good. I think
He's my favorite of the freaks.
he's of
Easily.
the guy freaks. I think he like more so than what's Jason Segel's character?
I forgot.
More than him,
Nick.
Nick. Yeah, more than him. I think he really gets in touch with like who he's going to be. I
Yes.
think Nick stays on the surface a lot, and
Well,
then there's not a lot of depth to the others.
to me, when the show got brilliant was one of his first storylines. Like back when Lindsay had a crush on him for a little while.
Hmm.
And I forget the whole setup, like if Daniel was cheating or not at
Oh
school.
yeah,
And like he does that
he
beautiful
helped her
monologue
cheat.
to her
Yeah.
about like people just think you're dumb and call you dumb. And then he repeats it later in the principal's office, note for
Yes.
fucking note,
Hmm.
practiced emotions, and she just starts laughing.
It's the best.
That's when it turned brilliant for me, and half of that
Hmm.
is Daniel Desario. And then watching him
It's
go through his awkward punk phase and get rejected from that group as well. And he's the most doomed out of all the freaks. Like he's gonna
right.
be either a criminal or a car mechanic. Like that's
Well,
all he's gonna be.
maybe his speech was right then, telling him he was always gonna be the dumb kid.
But there's truth in that
Like,
performance. There's
that's what
also
I'm saying.
cleverness.
But like
There's
that he knows it and plays that card,
yes,
and
there's
then
intelligence to it.
she like gets to see him like play the card and like finds the real thing behind it. Like he just makes her laugh uncontrollably because I don't know. Yeah, that's when she stopped like thinking that they were cool. You know,
Yeah.
she's like, oh, okay, they're just like me. They're
Well,
not.
that's when she started reciprocating Nick's affections too. She realized
Hmm.
that, like, he may he looks like James Franco, but he's a pretty bad guy. Him and Kelly are made for each other, though. That's a great couple. Um, but this guy right here, I think Franco did great, and I will go there. I mean, I don't want someone to go into the comments and be like, "Did you know he like assaulted Busy Phillips on the set?" Like, yes, I know that. I know that this guy was a fucking tool who just read Dostoevsky behind a tree in between takes, and then like Busy Phillips comes up to him and he just pushes her on the ground. I know that. That's fine. I don't really care, to be honest. Um, Daniel Desario was such a great character, and I guess he ended his arc ultimately by being Carlos the Dwarf in a game with the geeks. Like that's a fun
Hmm.
dynamic too.
Hmm.
But I love him shittily dyeing his hair in Liberty spikes, listening to Black Flags, Damaged. Like that's such
Yeah,
a
yeah,
and his mom sucked. Like he had it fucked up, bro. Like he was right. There's truth in the performance, in the insincerity. Like why wouldn't he use that? He knows he looks good and he looks pathetic. Like why wouldn't he use that? I like that a lot.
yeah, for
Could have
sure.
explored that in more seasons to see him actually do hurtful stuff. I forgot. I think this kid's name's Eli, right? Like Ben
Yeah,
Foster, dude. I
yeah, Ben
forgot
Foster,
about
that's
him.
right, dude. Yeah,
Wow.
what a interesting career he's had, Ben Foster. But
Oh my
yeah,
god,
so many
so
like he's
versatile.
in a lot of really interesting movies, just like sneaky. He's always like
Yeah, and he's
8th on
always
the
good.
cast list or something, but like yeah, he always nails it.
He always nails
But
it.
he
And
went full retard here, man. That's
this
crazy.
character, this character completely broke my heart, though. Like, I mean, it's designed to, right? Like
Mhm.
what's the biggest issue with this character is that he's designed to pull on your heartstrings, and they do. He's like humiliated so often, but I mean. Why don't we just call it an even split there? Put him on a B tier because he did the fact that I was manipulated into feeling bad for a special needs character doesn't mean that it didn't work. Like I should feel that way, and Ben Foster did outrageously well, maybe too well.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, as someone who went to one of those little private schools that, like, we just like there was a kid just like this, like, every other grade, I swear, and it was the same exact situation as how it played out every time, like, there was this one group of kids who
Yeah,
would pick on him, and then,
yeah,
like, the one would come back and like all of a sudden at the end of the year he's like one of the cool kids. Everybody's nice to him. Yeah, like that's totally
Can you remember?
that's
It
the
was
deal.
Lindsay. It was Lindsay because Lindsay
Hmm.
was trying to be nice and like, oh, but man, oh god, and he broke his fucking elbow or some
Yeah, yeah,
shit.
he got like actually injured.
Oh god, that's so fucking sad. I remember that's like the pilot, dude. That's like the pilot, the first episode. Like that's harsh. That sucks. Oh my god.
Just get
Wow.
right
Take
into
no
it. Eat your
prisoners.
heart out, Degrassi.
I remember this kid. I didn't
Fat
like
Neil.
him as much as the one right next to him. The one right next to him's great, but this kid didn't like him as much. Didn't hate him. He's a C tier kind of guy for me.
Fair. Yeah, he doesn't really provoke too much. He's more just like either a punchline or just there to bounce an idea off of. I don't know that he like contributed too hard.
Not really. But this guy, I like this guy a lot.
Oh, the sage,
Yeah.
the poet, the
I,
the man without time.
I don't know if I loved him. I'm feeling more B tier for this guy, but he was so funny. And correct me if I'm wrong, but he went on to Napoleon Dynamite to live forever, right? As an icon. He's Napoleon's brother, right?
Oh, I don't know if that is that true. That
I
would be
think that's him,
amazing. I
like
don't know if
talking to
that
babes on the internet.
that would be amazing if that's him. You just blew my mind if that's him. I don't
Um,
think so, but
I'm gonna double check. I just don't know this
let's
guy.
live in a world where he is though for a second, because that's great.
Napoleon Dynamite
But
cast.
no, he was a great character to have because like in every hero's journey, you need the Merlin, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he was that.
No,
Stay
it
true to
wasn't
your
that guy.
course, Sam.
It absolutely was not that guy.
Yeah,
Who the fuck is this guy then?
yeah, I didn't think that was the same Napoleon Dynamite actor.
It looks like him older, but hold on. Then who's this guy? I know this guy. Give me 1 second. Like, what would I even type in to get his stupid name? Oh my god. Freaks and Geeks. Wizard.
Dungeon Master, because he wasn't a character, he was the Dungeon Master. Is that what they call him?
I think so.
Or is that like a BDSM thing? I don't
Is his
know.
name Harris?
Yeah,
Harris.
that sounds right.
Stephen Lee oh my god. I can blow your mind still though.
Okay, keep going.
It says that's him.
Loading.
In
Yes, Dudley, that's right. Dudley, of course. My other favorite movie, The Royal Tenenbaums. I should have known that, of course. Yeah, of course
wow.
he's Dudley. Make yours like mine.
But look at him. He does look like he's been talking to cute internet babes or whatever
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, all day,
Napoleon's brother said.
for sure.
Oh my god. All right, now I'll go back.
Wanda. Very good. But yeah, I would say, would you put him
I put him
B?
at B. Yeah.
I think B is
He's
good.
very funny. Very funny. Now,
Yeah.
this one might be a little bit more difficult to talk about. We're talking about Seth Rogen's character here.
What?
My okay.
I would say underwhelming. I think more could
Yes.
have been. I think as an actor, meh. Sorry, guys.
I mean, as an actor, I think he did
At
fine.
least at
As
this
a
age.
character, no, as an
I'm
actor, he
not.
did fine. As a character, he wasn't given a whole lot to do. He was in less episodes than Kim Kelly right next to him, and he got to be a star on the show.
I think maybe maybe they had to. They were less compelled by his scenes that they cut him. I don't know. He didn't.
Now,
He
one of
didn't
his
stand
major
for
stories.
anything. He didn't. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, where was he?
Well,
He
he
dated the girl who was what was up with
intersex.
her?
She was
Yeah.
intersex, and got to have some kind of at least for 1999, nuanced or different sorts of discussions about what makes a woman, and what would make someone gay or sexuality. We got to do something surprisingly interesting with him through that arc, but he did stand for something. I think my favorite Ken moment is at the very end of the show, right? Because Nick kind of sells out and starts to date, I think, Lizzie Kaplan again, and they go
Mm-hmm.
like disco dancing, and he goes and finds him disco dancing and like loses his mind of like, because he's so he at least stands for being anti-disco, anti-conformity, and kind of not only disapproves of Nick, but I think writes him off in a way. Like it ends with that kind of feeling, like
Mm-hmm.
betrayal.
Like, yeah, this is the end of that.
But I will say, out of all the principal cast, he's the least compelling. He is.
Yes, for sure. I think he could have, like, maybe someone else would have brought more complexion to it, and it would have led more places too. I
Well, it's
just
also
think he
unfair
was
because
one-dimensional.
he's a character who needed more seasons. Like I
Right.
think he was perfectly fine in season one. If we had another season, got to see him do some more stuff, he was basically an unknown at that point. I know that Judd discovered him
Yeah,
essentially, like when they could figure out what his talents were.
mhm. He's Slater from season 1 of Degrassi.
Oh man, who's Slater?
Exactly.
Who's Slater in Degrassi?
He's Jimmy's best friend.
Spinner.
Spinner, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Sorry. But he's
Spinner.
Spinner, dude.
Spinner in season one of Degrassi had that epic boner in class, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's a boner in class, dude.
But so we might choose to be a little harsh here. I'm thinking top of the B tier.
See, I was gonna say C. I was gonna throw him in there with
You
the
think these
others.
two are better?
I do.
Okay, okay.
And I mean, maybe
That's
not Eli, but
that's fine with me. I don't care. That's
yeah,
fine. Now, Kim Kelly, I'm gonna say it right away. Kim
Brad
Kelly is a
Summer.
personal one for me because this bitch reminds me of my mom.
Aw.
Like that's how pointlessly and
Well,
like
let's throw up at the S. I'm sorry. Shout out to moms out there. It's a hard job. Life just throws things at you, and then you got a baby. I get it.
she acted just like her, which made her a terrible fucking mom, by the way, obviously. But I love Kim Kelly so much. And I wouldn't mind putting her at S to make up for the fact that she wasn't technically a star of the show, and she absolutely deserved to be. Kim
Yeah.
Kelly as my friend might be the most confrontational episode of this show. We see
Oh,
how
yeah.
just
I think it was like
insane her home life is, and then her and Lindsay might be my favorite friendship on the show. I like the strange dynamic and how they learn to help each other in
right.
extremely feminine ways from a show that is so masculine.
Good point. No, I think yeah, their storyline like was a necessary arc to happen, like with her just like teaching her how to be a little bad and around the edges and like but the other way around too, like, oh, I see like him seeing the value of like straightening up and like what a nice thing to have like a good family like that feels
Mhm.
good, like maybe I could lean more towards that. I don't know.
No,
I think
absolutely.
and like you say, like otherwise there wouldn't be any kind of female driven exclusively story.
No.
Like
And
it's all just yeah, guy stuff
it's
with
probably the
girls.
most interesting use of parents through Kim Kelly and Daniel Desario because you can see why they end up together, why they're so toxic, why they do really, I think, care for each other so much, but why they can't let each other go, even if they need to grow. And I
Yeah.
know it wasn't supposed to end 18 episodes in, but there's something really heartwarming about seeing Lindsay and Kelly leave everyone behind to go see the Grateful Dead. Like there's something really nice about that and an unexpected feeling of closure with their arc.
Mhm.
So
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind S tier, but we have to keep in mind that we only get 4 people on the S tier.
Think she can probably flirt between A and S. I don't know.
We'll put her there for now. We just know that only 4 can go there, and I'm pretty sure
She
someone
might
else
get
is about to go
demoted.
up there now. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get another person in the S tier,
There
like, now, so
Yeah, it might be immediate. What's to say, man? Like,
perfect. What's to say? If there's
that's
anything
just, like,
underrated about this show, it's her.
it defined a type in my life to this day, probably. The oversized jacket, the
Mhm.
you know, the ready to, like, make mistake like, she's so eager to explore the world, and I think that's, like and she's always inquisitive, she's always, like, trying to figure out, like, who's lying to her because she knows the world's lying to her now. I don't know. She's got Scorpio vibes for sure, which I appreciate.
And I think that, performance-wise, Linda Cardellini or whatever her name is, I'm gonna edit that out. I think that yeah, performance-wise, Linda did a fucking amazing job. If there's anything underrated about this show, it's mostly her performance. She held it together so effortlessly and so naturally that we don't even think about how much she has to do specifically. I love her character because we often forget that most of what she's doing, these explorations of rebellion, of life itself, of the experiential qualities of being, are coming from trauma. Because I believe in the first episode, she starts to distance herself from Minnie, I think her name is, right?
Mhm.
Winnie or whatever. She starts to distance herself from her
Millie.
Millie, from her
Yeah.
mathlete friends, because her grandmother died. And
Right,
she
yeah.
doesn't really know how to process that. And a lot of ways that people process grief or a traumatic loss that they can't comprehend is through like rebellion and completely changing yourself and trying to find authenticity in the unexpected, which is what this group of
Mhm.
freaks represented to her. Like there's a lot of complexities going on with her that are kind of low key, that aren't stressed on too much, that aren't you're not beaten over the head with her complexities, and a lot of that's within the performance from the actress as
Well,
well.
she's not a dramatic person, she takes everything in stride, but, like, there are things occurring for sure.
I do
But
love that
she's
she
way less.
makes like innocent teenage girl mistakes, just innocent mistakes.
Right. Right. And I think, like, what you were saying, like, the death of her was it grandma or
Yeah,
grandpa?
I'm
I
pretty sure
forget.
it was grandma. Pretty sure it was
But,
grandma.
like, the death experience was, like, the catalyst for the show to happen, otherwise she would've just been
Yeah.
some girl until she graduated, but I think that made her start questioning everything, which is another reason I think she's the Scorpio, the death. But,
Yeah, what do you think she saw in the freaks? Was it just the unpredictability? Was it a different, like a more true way of life for her? Like,
well,
what
I
do you think
think
she saw?
I think she saw the triviality of being the squid and just, like, how it doesn't matter if you do that, you still die, like,
Hmm.
I wanna live more, like, what else is there to explore, you
But
know?
I think she had lines like when she's trying to talk to Sam about it, but Sam's not being receptive to what she's saying about the grandmother dying. But I think she says stuff like she was afraid, like she was
Mhm.
afraid to die, and
Right,
that.
yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
And then, like, what can I do before I die to, like, not be afraid? Or what can
I mean,
I don't
yeah, just
know.
realizing, like you
She's
said,
just
she's
like
living in a lie, it's stuff that a lot of rebellious kids go through when they
mhm,
realize that they're living up to someone else's idea of ethics or morality or expectations. And
exactly.
I think easy S tier. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'll put her
Yeah,
ahead of
we'll
Daniel.
we'll
She's
yeah,
at the
we'll
top.
kick some other people off, but she's
Yeah, we only got one more person to put up there,
yeah.
but we can take people off and rearrange it. Okay, I know this chick was only in 1 episode. I think she's A tier material. I
Who
loved her story so much. She's I mean, she's like the cute girl who hangs out with the geeks and they do like the bottle rockets and they're like, "What? A pretty girl's hanging out with us?"
Oh,
But
yeah.
then she like stops because she makes friends with the cool kids. She's integrated into the caste system of the school.
Yes.
But she's played by Kayla Ewell, who would go on to be amazing in the Vampire Diaries. I just love that episode. I love her dynamics with the boys. I love the boys around her. I thought she was just adorable. I'm feeling A tier for like really at least delivering one story with a major punch.
It is very interesting. I totally forgot about that, but, like
And I think a season 2, we would have maybe seen her again. Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
I loved her. She was great.
I love the dynamic of like, because she's to her that was like a field trip, where to those guys
Mhm.
that was like an event.
It's so cool. They're seeing something different within, like, because they idolize the women, and they're seeing different things within these forms of idols they made up in their minds, and they become more
Mhm.
real, genuine, authentic, human, and
Right.
it in turns humanizes the geeks at
Well,
the
it
same
makes
time.
it makes them realize like maybe they're yeah, idolizing women to an extreme extent for no
Hmm.
reason because like look, here's she likes the stuff we like.
Exactly.
That's interesting, you know. Yeah,
She's
kind of
amazing.
breaking the paradigm of what you think.
And I have to give Kayla Ewell her flowers. She doesn't get enough respect for the work she did in this genre, because it was really small stuff like this, but she made such a huge impact. I'm giving
Mhm.
her A tier. I'll
You
put her
can.
beneath Cindy. I love her. I love
I
her.
feel like there's a little bit of extracurriculars creeping into this uh, tier list on that one, but that's okay. I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's
you like
totally
her.
fun. Okay. I'm not putting her next to Eli. I believe we've cursed the B tier by putting these two fucking knuckleheads on it.
What? Those are, dude, the most sage advice and the most truest perspective in that
Someone in the
tier.
comments will agree with me that this chick is fire. She's awesome. She should be here.
I
Uh
believe it. Oh, Millie. What was the song they sang? With the he starts playing the piano, the Christian song. Oh, it's so funny.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nick starts singing along.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
forget what the song is.
it's just a Jesus song. It's
I
fucking
know.
amazing.
Jesus is just alright with me.
Oh,
Jesus
okay.
is just alright. Oh, yeah.
Nick was so into it.
Oh, yeah,
Jason
dude.
Segel can sell a fucking joke, man. He was so
Yeah, I really do like him.
um,
Yeah, Nick not so much. Jason Segel's great, but well, Nick's
so
fine, but let's talk
Winnie
about
could be
Millie.
funny, but could Winnie be deep? Was there any like moment with her with a sensitivity? I know that she hated losing Lindsay, but
Mhm.
felt
Well,
a
I
little
think
one note.
she's like the first part of the Pokemon, and Lindsay's like the second to the third part of the Pokemon. You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
hasn't like reached that point of consciousness to start exploring. She might just be in that forever. That might be her comfort zone too. I think toward the end she did start like there was an allusion to her making a bad choice or something.
Right? Like
Maybe.
she got a boyfriend eventually.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is, and she was like, "Look at me holding hands and being naughty or something."
But what are you feeling on her? What tier?
I feel like she was a necessary annoying, but also maybe C for me.
I would go I'd go B. I'd
You
go
can
B.
we can go B. I'm being a little harsh on her, but,
I'd go
it's
B.
because she also reminds me of a lot of my friends in high school who were, like, really weird about when I was like, "Hey, you guys wanna start drinking beers and stuff?" And then they
Yeah.
didn't talk to me for a whole summer, and then, by the end of the summer, we started school again, and they were like, "Hey, guys, first, weekend of the year, you guys wanna get some beer?" I was like, "Screw you guys."
I think she
I just
fits in
said
on
that.
this tier of like serviceable, did her job, I think exceedingly well. This tier C is kind of more like
Yeah,
lacking,
yeah. Yeah, I could see
lacking.
that. Okay. I agree then, B.
I don't
Who do we
recognize.
got here?
I don't recognize her. Whose mother is that?
I think that was, one
Is that
of
Daniel's mom? Who's it? Oh no, is that Neil's mom? Is that Bill's mom?
their moms is cute, right?
Yeah, but
Neil's
we're not
mom.
talking about Sam's mom right now.
Uh, uh, yeah, I don't know. We might have
I just typed in Bill's mom into Google search without like
Why,
research.
dude? Tell me what
Um,
you saw.
it, it
Who's Bill in that
it
scenario?
is Bill's mom. It has to be
Oh,
Bill's mom.
yeah.
I'm
Because
pretty sure it's Bill's mom.
do we see Bill's dad ever?
No, because she's dating the coach right next to her on
Ah,
that.
that's right. She's the single hot one. That's right. It's Bill.
The thing is,
You're
I
right.
don't
Or Bill.
remember her at all.
I'm sure she's kind and works hard, and Bill seems like
Yeah,
a good kid. So
but she seems ultimately forgettable, so it's
let's
D or
give her
F.
a D.
Yeah, because she's hot. Now
Yeah.
the coach had some surprising amount of depth to him. Like I do like when he starts dating Bill's mom, and I do like the dynamic between him and Bill. Uh,
Hmm.
I do like a couple of things he did with the geeks, you know, trying to educate them about sex
Yeah.
when they were
I
gonna watch that dirty movie.
yeah. I think he. I don't know. Yeah, he's just like how did I get myself into this position kind of guy. You know, he's just like, dang man. Well, here I am as the coach. So
Yeah,
and he finds himself in a place where he's like, I don't want to do this, but I might as well help these kids. You know. But I feel
yeah.
major
And I do
like,
think he genuinely cares. Like he and the
mhm,
guidance counselor genuinely care. That's it.
yeah, for sure. I think they
But where would you put him?
hmm he did I don't know. Here's how do you feel about this? He let Sam get beat up by dodgeballs,
Oh yeah, he did.
but was it to make Sam stronger?
Who
Was it
cares? That's
okay?
still
So then
bad,
he
right?
put him lower. Then see.
See, but he does have good moments with Bill. He does have good moments with them. But at least you see, it's stuck in 1979 or 80. It's still beholden to a certain kind of masculine teaching,
Hmm.
unapologetically at times. This guy was just a dick,
Tough,
right?
dude. Yeah, he was.
Like a
Speaking of
mathlete.
masculine teaching,
Yeah.
yeah, he was a little mansplainer, know-it-all kind of guy.
Like he was like the guy in the. He kept trying to get Lindsay to go back to mathletes, right? Like he was just. He
Yeah,
hated
he was the
Desario,
math teacher, and he always picked on the
the
geeks.
freaks, and he hated
Oh,
Desario. I think I
and
remember
yeah,
that.
he hated Asario too.
Like that doesn't make him a bad character,
No,
right?
no.
But like D tier regardless.
Yeah. I don't think he see, he was the teacher who gave up on
Yeah.
maybe once upon a time he was a good-hearted. It's
I
been
think
too
he
long.
basically said like, "Oh, Desario's not gonna pass because I won't let him," kind of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, but
Like even if Desario did well, I wouldn't say that he did.
but I think it was a jaded thing, just like,
Yeah.
I've seen this kid before, like, I'm not letting this happen again."
How the hell do we feel about the guidance counselor?
Groovy, dude.
Like,
He's
he's like,
MK Ultra, man.
how do we like, dude? There are so many goddamn parents on this show.
Oh, there's
Next,
too many parents, honestly, now that I'm
yeah, and not
seeing the
enough of
list.
them are interesting.
The teach is fine, dude. I just don't like
Yeah.
how he calls her Linz, because Lindsay is not that long.
Did he ever get inappropriate?
No, I do not
No.
remember. I think he got in trouble for smoking weed, though.
Did he never like put his hand on her leg or anything?
Nah, I don't think so. He wouldn't do that to me, would he?
I don't know. I'm looking it up.
You can't misrepresent the hippie community like that.
I don't think so, right?
I don't think so either. He's just a guidance counselor.
Okay.
He was a very kind guy.
Where would you put him?
I'd put him at
Oh,
B.
yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking of like an actual teen drama where where they create conflicted, compelling characters. And the guidance counselor would be deeply inappropriate in some way.
Nah, no,
You,
no.
you want,
He's more like Boy Meets World level guidance
he
counselor.
is he better or worse than Eli?
He's better than Eli, I think.
Okay, he goes to
But
the
I would
top of the
change
B.
that order because my Sage Man is at the top of that list for B.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. I forget who this is.
That's Neil's dad or
That's
not
Neil's dad.
or right? Who's the
The ventriloquist kid, Jewish kid.
Yeah, thank you for saying it.
um,
His dad cheats. He's a cheater, and he knows it, and his brothers knows it too, or whatever. They find out, right?
boring. D.
I know. He's a bad guy.
um,
Typical white male.
so I'll put these two just right next to each other. I hate the parents on Freaks and Geeks. They're just not interesting. You can have interesting
They're
parents. My
not.
so-called life had interesting parents.
Yeah.
These
Let's just.
parents aren't real. These are just caricatures. Like they did
No.
not
Yeah.
raise Lindsay and Sam.
No, they're from like a '50s TV show.
Yeah, they're not even supposed to be taken seriously. I don't think there's any integrity to the characters. And yet they seem to be the moral voice of this show, which I think is
But
one of the show's
their
weaknesses.
yeah, their morality is flimsy based on the information they have.
Yes, and it's so like the dad is probably worse than the mom in the sense that he's such a fucking
I
good.
think the mom is just like a sheepish, meek, like everything's gonna be fine, like, and then
Yeah,
just hopes that like being good will take you all the way.
and I think that
And it
someone would
does, but
argue with me in the sense of like this is what Lindsay is rebelling against or like whatever, but it's not an interesting depiction. It's just such a bad idea. Their parents are so bad on this show. It's just
mm,
uninteresting to engage with. I would actually put the dad in F because he pisses me
yeah,
off
dad
so
could be
much.
an F.
But mom's a
Mom goes
solid
up a little
B.
bit.
Yeah, mom's better. She has, or maybe they're just better at writing Lindsay, than they are Sam. And this show is pretty like gender coded. Like she has good conversations with Lindsay.
Well, she just seems too simple.
The way that the mother cared for Kim Kelly in certain scenes was
Mhm.
nice and
Right,
different.
but that's just what she's just like that kind of,
Hmm.
"Oh, I'm just nice. I'm just nice."
Exactly. But the dad never even approached that level of let me wait. I think he had a good scene with Nick once, like one good one. But dude, I don't give a fuck about these parents. They're the worst. They're the worst. The Freaks and Geeks is great, but there are fucking flaws in it, and it's mostly in their adult characters. I get
Well,
that teen dramas have great teen characters, but
how do you think, you raise freaks or geeks? Boring or bad parents?
yeah, but they're like such caricatures. Like I can't even analyze Kim's mom. Like they're either fucking angels or devils, bro.
Yeah,
I don't remember her,
I think that's the, Neil's mom, the one that was getting cheated on, yeah.
dude. Go.
Or whatever, yeah.
I like that we just threw this kid an F. Like, he's
Look
just staying there.
look at that
Yeah.
face, look at that face. That's an F face.
Oh, Neil Schreiber or whatever.
Yeah, he was my least favorite only not as a I
Oh,
don't know,
because
I
of the
just
Jew
didn't like I
thing.
just no, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Cause he's, like, the actual geekiest, but actually wants to be the coolest. Like, the others are, like, fine with being cool, and, like, Bill even kinda dismisses being cool, but he really wants to be cool, which is, like, his character flaw, I think.
He's the one who needs to be in therapy the most, especially because of that fucking puppet, man. Like it was a good
Well,
story. It was a good story, but oh my god. Oh my god, the amount of mental.
anybody who would pick up a puppet,
But the thing is, he's way
sketchy.
more compelling than Ken. He had a lot more to do.
Yeah, he had more,
Fine.
and I think he was a better backboard for, Bill and Sam too
Yeah.
than, he was for the others.
So
I
how
think
harsh do you wanna be?
I think you could throw him in B at the end
Okay.
or C at the top.
B at the end, because I think he's better than these C tiers. And like what we've noticed about this C tier is that they're lacking a lot. There's nothing lacking in Neil. It's just his character flaws
Mhm,
were
yeah.
so
It's just we don't
visible.
we don't like him that much. It's not that he was bad. Yeah.
I think this cat's likable.
I think he's likable, and I also might, like, have this little bad taste in my mouth because I see so much of myself in him.
Fair. Oh yeah, you were really into music, right?
Music and, like, becoming a burnout and
Mm.
I don't know.
I mean, he's even wearing his disco outfit here. Did you ever?
Yeah,
Did you
I know. I
ever?
would never disco.
I mean,
No, Panic at the Disco, they say, but
well,
no.
I think the music stuff is so heartbreaking with him because we obviously know so many people who were trying to be in bands and they were just slightly not good enough or just but they had like the heart. Of course,
Mm,
it's bigger with Nick because his dad's like, you're gonna go join the military, and you know ultimately that he will, and that's what makes these freaks so tragic.
mhm.
He's just got so much heart, and he's such a fucking moron, but he's so lovable on account of that.
That's what he is. He's the lovable moron who, like, really means well but has no direction. He's
And
directionless,
yeah,
which is
yep.
most musicians, artists. We're like, "Okay, if we can't do this, then, what?"
And then the way that Lindsay just emotionally, intellectually, socially outpaces him so quick in their relationship
Well
is
said. Socially
really
outpaces him. Nice. Yeah,
that's
that's what
it. All
happened.
those
Her
flaws
growth
together,
was just far rapider than more rapid than his.
I think, make him so sensitive and such a wonderful character to be around. He's top of A tier right now
He
for
can
me.
be A. I think he can
Yeah.
be A. But yeah, I don't think he's S, like
No, not if we can only do 4. If there were no limits on S, he was great. He was like
oh,
that.
I think I already
Got no
I,
complaints.
I don't know. Now I'm torn about my S. Well, let's go. Let's go into it. Sammy
Sam,
Sam. What a boy.
um, he doesn't thrill me.
That's like the worst picture they could have put of him. What? Where did you get this picture? That's
I
like the
didn't.
most.
Oh, no, I didn't make this
I
tier.
know. Yeah, yeah. But what
Otherwise
a
I would know
ridiculous
everyone who
photo
I
of
put
him
on it. I should
in
have said
this
at the
thing.
beginning, I did not make this tier. I thought that would be obvious as we went through it, and I'm like, who the fuck is that?
No, yeah, but like where the pictures were pulled from, like
No,
that's
sadly, I think this
the
is the
weirdest.
best that they could have done with the kid. I think that they think that that's
That's the good one.
yeah.
Bless.
I never liked Sam too much.
His early appearances were very. I think like as an actor was just like so green that you could tell he was
Yeah.
like nervous and stuff. But I think it played into the character once he like. I think someone might have said like lean into that like, and it started working for him like a little bit further in. But I think
I'm
he's
thinking
he's like exactly like his mom. He's just like a
yeah,
good kid, you know? He
exactly.
maybe like in the future he'll be like Lindsay and break into exploration, but
That's a weird problem with this show is that I love the way that Lindsay and Sam like their dynamic a lot, but I don't see like it doesn't feel like a real family. It all feels so contrived. Everything feels so not in a cool artsy way of like I'm living a lie, but in a
yeah, they don't seem like more this like their relativeness
yeah.
to each other is like very muted in the storylines and the like the way they interact with each other even at like school like if they were distancing themselves like it's still not like it's just like not how two family members would avoid each other, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good
But
lord. I
he's I don't know, he's a nice kid. He always does the right
he's
thing.
he's integral to the show. Like he
Absolutely.
has to be there.
I think he's really like
He would have been perfect if
there's
this
something
show
about
ran for 6 seasons. Imagine watching him actually go through puberty,
right,
maturity.
if he
Like,
was the boy that met world,
yeah, no,
that would
that's what
be
he was
really
supposed to
good,
be.
like he would have been really good at that.
That's what was supposed to happen. Like, imagine ranking Corey Matthews after season
I
1.
know, dude.
Like,
Honestly, imagine we should actually, because I love that show. We should just do that, but it would be a mess, dude, because that
oh
show's
yeah,
continuity is terrible, but also just like the characters.
for fun. Name me one S tier Boy Meets World.
Sean Hunter.
I'd put Angela at S tier for extracurricular reasons, but
Yeah, I
still, she
think.
was great.
Also, yeah, we won't get into that. That's a whole other
No,
thing.
no, I
But
just wanted to do a quick S. There
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
But this cat, like, is he A or B? Is he A or B?
I think he's A. I think he's in between the ladies.
Okay.
I think he's
Dude,
not
okay,
as
I
cool as
love the concept that
Cindy.
I love the concept that Cindy, right, is
Yeah.
more interesting than he is.
No, but she
But
kind of is.
she
Like
is.
her social position is far more interesting than his whole character.
Speaking of extracurricular,
Ay
like
ay ay.
Lizzie Kaplan, baby, how are you?
Yeah, like Lindsay would absolutely be my type, and then they introduce this goddess,
I
and
just
I
watched an episode of Smallville the other day where she played like she was supposed to be like the ugly plain girl who just wants to be pretty.
miscast, dude.
Dude, okay, Party Down. I've never talked about it on my channel. Party
Oh
Down's
yeah, Party Down's
brilliant.
great.
That's why she's a legend to me. She was
Her and
amazing and so
the guy
sexy
from
in that show.
Community was like so good in that too. Like there's a lot of really good people. Yeah, Party Down. Shout out.
And shout
Watch
out
that.
for Party Down being created by Paul Rudd and the creator of Veronica Mars. So we know it's got good people behind it.
There you go.
Okay, but like
Yeah,
what does she do? I'm surprised that
she gets
what's her
Nick into disco, and she also
yeah, she's that girl.
yeah, I don't know. What else did she do? She
I think that's it. Like, is Rashida? Why isn't Rashida Jones here for sucking on James Franco's finger? You know, if we're putting Lizzie Kaplan on this list.
oh, I forgot about Rashida Jones in this, but that was very brief. She was the tough girl, right? She was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, she was like
"Don't
Kim's
mess with me.
enemy.
I'm from Philly or something like that, dude." I was
Yeah,
like, "Whoa, dude, Rashida, relax."
I like Lizzie Kaplan a lot in general, so whatever I say is going to be biased.
I know. Same here, though. Also, because
I'm not putting her in the C
she
tier.
has to be. Let's put her in B, so we
Yeah.
don't look like misogynist or something. Like,
No, we're not trying to, but look at this. It's actually interesting. I
I think
think
this is
that
a great. We've displaced everybody really well so far. Look at this
yeah,
graph. Look at this
and
graph we've created.
I do want to champion their writing of women, and I wish they did it a little bit more because they fucking killed it when they did.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, he played in the band with Desario, right? He was like
Yeah, he
just
was kind of
there.
like a bully, but not really as bad as the other kid. Maybe he was definitely like just he was at the party. I think that was one of his more scenes with lines, like just sitting at the party or whatever. Not too much for me. We could throw him in D. Yeah, that's probably
Yeah,
about
just
right.
and who's this?
That was the girl
Yeah.
that Seth Rogen was
Oh, okay.
what's her face?
You know what? I
I
don't
don't know
remember
her
too
name.
clearly, but I do love that storyline. She's a C tier. She's a C tier. She could be right next to her hubby if we want.
There you go. Smoochy
Like I do like
smooch.
that storyline. It's just we could have spent more time with her, saw some more interiority from her because I didn't even remember what she looked like. So I
It
think
was
that should
very
be
short-lived, and I think they probably were just like, maybe not. Maybe write that out of the next episode. I don't know. Who's Brendan Sawa? Or who's this guy?
Is that Devin Sawa? Oh my god! I just by the looks of him, it looks like was there like a hot boy in the geeks class or something?
Is that Anakin Skywalker?
No, it's not.
You
I don't know.
sure?
I don't know who
Of
that
the
is
first
eating a
ones
corn
in the
dog. Wait,
2000s?
I mean,
Yeah.
but wasn't he like Cindy was dating somebody, right? And he
Was
was
he
a
like
good
the jock,
looking.
the football player
Yeah,
boy
and I
that
think he
he
was
was
dating
like with her?
Cindy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So
I don't
he's not.
he's just like he's a decoration, you know.
Is she Cindy's friend?
Why is Bill at the end of this? We're getting I don't know who she is. Who is that girl?
I don't. I don't know. She must have been one of Cindy's friends.
She was just like at the lunch table also. What?
You know what? I gotta say,
S tier.
I'm happy we have one spot left on
S
S tier.
tier. There you go,
Okay,
dude. That worked out perfectly.
where on the S tier?
I think
Oh,
before James Franco, man. Before Danny. I think Bill
I
is the real like geek that we're following. You know, like he's the real like one in our hearts.
I think that he's amazing. He's become the mascot of the show. If there's anything that's instantly recognizable about Freaks and Geeks, it's his
Hmm.
image. It's him.
No, and I think he's not like that's probably not how he woke up that day. Like he's being that, I think, you know,
Oh yeah, yeah,
consciously.
yeah. Oh,
And
he's amazing.
but his like the things his delivery was just so on point, like being so whatever, like removed, like he's even like not even that impressed with like his best friends. He's just like not impressed. He's like, what? Unless it's like
He-
Dallas, he doesn't care, dude.
he's so remember. I can't remember the specifics of the episode that was at the party when they were all trying to see like get drunk, but he was the only one
Hmm.
who managed to actually do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Just watching the $6 billion man.
It's pretty good.
Oh my God, Bill Haverchuck, and the name Bill Haverchuck is just everything about him is
Exactly.
perfectly designed.
I That's why I think he was the one that was like, all right, we're gonna focus on this as the geek of the situation.
He was
And
great.
then like, James Franco as the freak and then like throw the Weir family in the middle of it.
I am so happy with this S tier. Like that's and they're all for different reasons, like of why they were so remarkable to follow on this show. That's a good S tier. That's a
Nice.
brave A tier. That's good.
Brave.
I like that Cindy and
Can I
fucking.
can I use my one veto?
Are you gonna take my girl off? The
No,
fucking
no.
A tier.
I'm gonna move one up.
Who?
Can we move my shaman up to A? Because
Yeah,
honestly,
at the
I th-
top or where?
no, no, you can put him wherever on that list. Put him at the back. But yeah, I think he's profound. Oh, I don't like the shape of that actually. Put him back down.
I mean, would you rather be the king of the B tier or the
Be
last
the
of
king
an
of
A
the
tier?
bees. King of the
Yeah.
bees actually sounds more. Then he can marry Beyonce.
And then C tier just wanted more, but I enjoyed what I did get, but I wanted more.
Exactly. I think all those. Well, maybe toward the end, no, but like those three
He could have been
beginning ones.
interesting. He had a moment or two or had potential, but
I
D
think yeah,
tier.
those three. If we delved more into them, or gave them more opportunity, that could have. Coach was all right.
Well, honestly, the only two adults worth giving a damn about is the guidance counselor and the coach.
Hmm.
And guess what? They weren't anybody's parents.
It's true. That's the thing, though, is like the parents were slacking.
Is this the guy who like spoke for that shaman guy? And like
I think
you
he was
must
just
ask him in
he like
this
sat
way.
next to him. Oh yeah,
Okay,
he's the
yeah.
one who told him like you gotta do that. And then I think they're all like playing D&D later. And
All right, let me give you all the gaze upon our work, ye mighty in despair. Here it is. The tier list for Freaks and Geeks. I don't remember if there's anybody missing except for, Rashida Jones. That's it. I can't remember anybody else missing. I feel like that was
yeah,
for 18 episodes, that's more than enough characters. I think that they did fine. I didn't even remember a quarter of them.
it's true. It's true. We were who the heck is that for
Yeah.
some of these sad guys, but that's okay. I think the characters they did focus on for sure, like Lindsay as a character, make another show about her,
Right.
you know?
Oh man, she was so good. Freaks and Geeks. I know I've said some backhanded things throughout this, but it is extremely important. I just as I discover like more shows and stuff, it keeps kind of losing its place. Like in my love for it kind of weakens over time. But man, you put on an episode like some of the ones we talked about. If you put on that like Jesus is fucking awesome song or whatever you were
Jesus.
talking about,
Yeah, exactly.
like
There's
I'll be
so
like,
many.
nah, you're right. It's the best thing I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
yeah, I feel like it's one of those like once you are like, oh, let's just watch Freaks and Geeks again, and you put it on, like that's you're just gonna watch it until it's over and then start something else again. Like you'll just
Yeah.
finish it, you know?
My major point with all that was Freaks and Geeks is extremely important, and a lot of people have found a lot of good within the episodes, and there's a reason I keep revisiting them. And there's also a reason why this show keeps finding more and more new fans, more than a lot of other shows. Like there is
Hmm.
something special to the way it was written, to the comedy of the piece, but most importantly to the sensitivity of it. Like it's good. It's good. It's good. I just have some issues with it that were
Can
probably
I
going to be corrected in the second season, to be honest.
can I ask you how do you feel about the ending? You
Well,
like it?
the fun thing with canceled shows, the only fun thing about canceled shows is all of the what ifs, all of the potential. You know, when I talked about My So-Called Life getting canceled, it's really cool when it happens to a teen or coming of age show, because teen and coming of age shows are all about potential, are all about like what you
Hmm.
will become. And these shows that ended way before their time in their very first season, it it's almost like they stay in that stasis. And when you revisit these episodes, like you don't go through the coming of age process, and you're just there with all that potential again. So there's kind of like a
Hmm.
beautifully tragic part of a show ending like this. Obviously most of the arcs weren't like satisfyingly concluded in this one.
Right.
But it was still a great deal of fun to watch. My So-Called Life is a million times better, but like I feel the same way about both of them, in the sense that canceled shows, they end at a time where it was all just potential. They end at a time where like everything was before them, which makes it even more tragic, and maybe even speaks to Freaks and Geeks more specifically, of that era's gone and you can't go back to it.
Right. Yeah. I have to say I don't know, I was always upset about the ending. I was like, "Okay,
Hmm.
so she just goes and follows the Grateful Dead," and, like,
Oh, I would
I
prefer
hate
it if we got another season. I'd
well,
prefer it if we got
even
six
that
seasons.
ending, like, now I'm confused as to, is she gonna, like, go to college, or is she just gonna, like, be a dropout and now she's, like, living on Skid Row?
Well, it's all just potential, right? I like the idea of her and Kim going to the Grateful Dead concert, especially alone and without the boys.
No,
Like
yeah, I appreciate that, like, they 2 went off, but I wish there was, like, yeah, like, maybe 5 more minutes in that episode or something
well, it
where
wasn't supposed to end there at all, like by any means. Like we're
do
not
you think
supposed to
they
just imagine.
anticipated, maybe
No,
getting another season, really? Because I
no, I
think
don't think they anticipated that. I
they
think
didn't
a
even finish with,
normal.
like, a graduation, though, too, even though they were all seniors, which I thought was did they do like, a graduation scene? I don't
No,
remember.
I
Yeah.
mean, a normal show for a network, like I think it was on Fox, is 22 episodes. This was only 18. Like I think they were cut before their season finished.
Ah, I
Like
see.
like I don't think that was necessarily the way to end it.
They're
Like maybe,
expecting to write 2 more, 3 more episodes.
yeah, I do feel like them jumping into the van and going to see Grateful Dead, like that was tacked on as an ending when they found out. But like we're not supposed
Mhm.
to imagine Nick selling out and doing disco forever, or Daniel Desario literally being best friends with geeks. Like we're not that's
Yeah.
you
Well, yeah,
know
I just like to see maybe even like a closing credits scan where you kind of like get a resolution of maybe Nick is signing up for the army
Well, let me pick your
after
brain
all.
for a
Maybe
second. Like,
like
why don't you think we've seen that yet? Paul Feig, Judd Apatow, all of the cast members certainly have the means to make some sort of follow up within the almost 30 years that it's been off the air. Like, do you
oh
think they
yeah,
even
dude, to
had
do
good
like
ideas?
a high school reunion.
Yeah, unless they really didn't have great
I think
ideas,
it's
or
too
they
late.
were comfortable
I
with
think
this
it's too
ending.
late now. And then by the time it was the time, all of them were off doing things, probably like
And I
too
do
caught
feel
up.
like,
It probably just never happened.
I think I've heard Judd say that he was satisfied. Like he didn't like that Freaks and Geeks was canceled, but he was satisfied with the way that the last episode ended up. You know, like I
Hmm.
think he does like the idea of them going to the Grateful Dead concert, but that's only two out of like six main characters that we're comfortable with at the end. The
Yeah.
rest didn't really get that cool moment.
It's true.
Um,
I feel like Lindsay's the only one. we really needed to know what happened to, but even then we didn't like she's still like betwixt in between. She doesn't have like a solid like this is what I believe in. Now I'm getting in a van.
Well, the tragic part of that rebellion is that Lindsay can always go home to her parents. Kim
Right,
Kelly's home is more than broken, it's destroyed.
right.
Like, it's not an equal amount of rebellion or the equal consequences for both people. In
There you
season
go
2, we could
too.
have explored that.
I think that's a great point. Like the actual risk of her
Mhm.
going and being a freak versus the actual risk of those who have to.
Exactly. And now I wanna see maybe Desario could have improved with, I guess, hanging out with like, we're not supposed to think he hangs out with the geeks all the time, though. That was just a one-off. That was like
No, yeah, like, they should show him, like, saying
Freaks and Geeks
hello to them
style
at the
would
gas station, but then, like,
yeah.
going and smoking a cigarette with some other kids.
Freaks and Geeks style would be like him ignoring them in the hall the next day.
That's
Like,
yeah, some sort of situation where they like, they make eye contact, they do the head thing, but then he obviously goes in the other direction.
but
Like,
it
some
that
sort of
it's a fitting end to his season arc, but not to his overall story. Like him trying to find a, but his arc didn't necessarily make complete sense. He was trying to find a group that accepted him, but he had one with Nick and Ken and Kelly,
it's
but
true, yeah.
he already had it, so it didn't make sense him going to be punk and then going to hang out with these geeks who eventually did like him. It
Mhm.
was kind of fundamentally flawed, but I liked his character so much, and the performance was amazing. The ending, of course, isn't satisfying. It can't be if the show gets canceled like that. Um, but then again, so many. If the show ran for 6 seasons, I can't. I can count on one hand the amount of not just for teen drama, but for shows in general, where the fans actually liked the way it ended. No one ever likes an ending. We all like the journey.
Yeah, of course, the journey's great. I feel like there was a logical conclusion of, like, graduation.
Oh
At
yeah, but
least that they could have at least just
that would
hinted
have been a
at being
that
like,
would have been a
"Okay, this is
faulty
it.
way,
They're
dude.
out." That was the end of high school.
That's another faulty part of the design. Like, why would you start a show with characters in senior year if we're supposed
Right.
to follow
Well,
them?
that's
Like,
why I always kind of originally thought that it was just intended to be Lindsay's senior year, that kind of that's the long documentary happening or whatever,
but there's so much iconography to this show, just like My So-Called Life, Jared Leto's hair, or Claire Danes that bright red hair, like just
Mhm.
the green bomber jacket that Lindsay wears. There's so much
Yeah.
iconography here that just seems so fucking timeless. Bill's glasses, just seems
Yeah,
so like
exactly.
I could
But
just see the propers, see the glasses, or see that jacket, and know exactly what we're looking at. That's amazing to me.
that is
Like
amazing. Is that, yeah. I don't know. What do we attribute that to? Really good marketing or just
not even marketing, right?
really good capturing?
A great design, and
Yeah,
especially, I guess I'm talking about costume design. Those
but you're
things
totally right
just
about Bill. Like you see those like glasses and those gym shorts and
mhm.
it doesn't matter where you are. You know what the kid is and it can be any kid at any time, you
It's
know.
so awesome. It's so like there is a great amount of power to this show. I'm offering criticisms because I don't ever see anyone criticize it, and there's a room for criticism in this show. I, d-
Yeah,
I I just don't see it. We act like it was perfect, but it was a great first season. Normally, shows hit their stride by season 3. Season 1 was really good. I could just imagine by season 3 when they
that's true.
understand what they're doing.
Right, you could think about, like, even writers kinda need a whole season or 2 to develop the character for them, let alone make the actor portray that and blah, 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 so
It also marks the first
it is
time that
interesting to
this kind of unbreakable group of actors, at least through the 2000s, were working together. Same with Judd Apatow, like
yeah,
the
it
first
must have
time.
been there must have been something to say about, like, the environment that they were
Hmm.
like, the work environment must have been super fun, creative, exciting, and that's maybe also why the show is, like, resonated is because we got to see them actually grow up together too, beyond that. Not
Un-
them necessarily, the characters, but, like, those
And
who
it's a
portray
rare
them.
teen drama where each of the principal cast members, they don't have equal careers or equal amount of celebrity visibility, but they've all done something interesting. Every single one. Like Busy
No.
Phillips left this show to do Dawson's Creek, right? When that was canceled. Or fucking Neil.
Hmm.
Maybe he went to do Inglourious Bastards. He scalped Nazis and shot Hitler.
That's
Like he
true.
still
Yeah,
did
that's
something
like one
awesome.
of the most random. Oh
And
yeah,
you
and I'm in Inglourious Bastards.
like they've all done great things since then. It's hard to think of a teen drama where that's the case. There's normally a couple who couldn't
Yeah, a
break out
shout
of
out
it.
star, but like yeah, their side, but yeah, I think yeah, there's 8, 10 of them that all are like A
Mhm.
celebrities, at least at some point in their career were
Exactly.
in the
Even
top.
Sam went on to like he's living in a mansion. He's gotta be. He was on that show Bones with David Boreanaz and that Deschanel girl for
Yeah,
fucking 20 years.
yeah.
Like they've all done well.
I remember seeing him in Waiting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay, so that film, kids in the whole thing, but he just has like one line at the very end.
That was the easiest
That's a
gig.
big old paycheck, dude. You just, hey, stand there and look like you for an hour and a half, and then say like these 25 words, and then leave. The
Oh my
best, dude.
god.
What a gig. Oh man, sign me up.
Oh, Waiting is even more dated than this show was. Like, if I ever see Dane Cook, I'm like, this could only be one or Andy
Oh,
Milonakis as well.
yeah.
It
Andy
could only be
Milonakis
one
and Dane
year.
Cook, they had a brief window of cool before they were those
But
guys.
even the side characters brought up Rashida Jones, Lizzie Kaplan, Kayla Ewell, they would all go off to
That's
do
true. Yeah.
like
I
it was a
mean, yeah,
real.
Rashida Jones probably went on to be the big probably one of the bigger ones.
Lizzie Kaplan's done her fair share too. Like those two are
I
big.
mean, Parks
Like,
and Rec is massive though.
yeah, but all
And
all
she
the
was on
real
The Office
ones.
too.
Oh yeah, she was. Who would have picked Pam, by the way, over her?
Not I don't
Not
know.
any.
Jim would have.
What a loser.
I know.
But real ones know that Party Down's where the real art and real comedy is. That shit was amazing. That Party Down comes close to UK Office for the record. Of
It
like,
it really is like I don't know. I don't remember it being like laugh out loud funny, but I remember having a smile on my face the whole
I
time.
never saw the
That
the
kind of
revival
funny.
they made. Did you see the revival a year or two ago? I didn't
Nah,
watch it. Didn't watch it. Didn't hear great
I'll
things
have to
about it either.
rewatch it and then find that.
But those first 2 seasons, my god, so cool. But yes, that maybe that's also why Freaks and Geeks legacy has lived on for so long because it's connected to so many other cultural touchstones. But it seems to be the origin of it, like the birthplace of like it's honestly the birthplace of 2000s pop culture. Like
Well,
all
that's
those
what,
people.
dude. I mean, I started it with thinking Juno was the same because it's just
Exactly.
like such a high reflection of. I think it did, yeah, really birth the.
I mean, Franco did like Spider-Man a year and a half later, like they all
He
just
did,
popped
yeah,
off.
blow up. Anyway.
But Freaks and Geeks, for the real reason why it stuck around for so long, because Undeclared hasn't in the same degree, and that's
Oh,
like
not nearly.
same amount. Like we got like a same amount of interesting people in it, got that kind of thing. Decent actors, decent jokes, but it's nowhere near as good. It's really the quality, and maybe you could call it lightning in a bottle. If you were gonna call any series of episodes a lightning in a bottle kind of thing, it's Freaks and Geeks because I've criticized. Like, it shouldn't work for the reasons that I've criticized, and yet it does. It
It was
absolutely does.
it was a yeah, a bottle of time for sure.
Yeah, it's just maybe they haven't finished it because you can't capture lightning in a bottle again. Just shit was just flowing. It's just when you work with good people for a certain amount of time, it just works.
Yeah.
But Charlie, where can people find what you do if they enjoyed your company?
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Charlie Reese Comedy on Instagram, and I just started a YouTube page as well. So hopefully, I'll get some jokes and some podcasts and etc. up there. You can find that through my Instagram though. Charlie Reese Comedy,
And if you're in the Southeast Florida kind of area,
Central
hit them up.
Florida.
You can
Hit
see
us
them.
up. You
You can
find
see
me.
them. For the record, we never said it. I hang out with this guy like at least 2 or 3
Oh,
times a week.
yeah,
Like
we're
we know
buds.
each other.
I'm just a random guy that's like, what? Why is this
He's
comedian guy
How did
on?
that not come up, man? We are
Oh yeah,
so
we're good pals. We have a drink every once in a while together.
every once in a while is
Point out
like
all the real freaks and geeks in
2 or
town.
3 times a week. Yeah, Charlie's a good guy. Check him out. And
Thanks, man.
yeah, I'm gonna continue to do these rankings. Hopefully have a guest on every single time. So hope you enjoyed the Freaks and Geeks video.